How great would it be to have a little holiday from high-priced gas? Kind of a Festivus for fuel. Well, now, the gas prices are crippling people just trying to go get their groceries. Washington is now getting in on the act. Oh, they proposed a new gas tax holiday. Would that work? I don't think so. Can anyone say the word Band-Aid? Drill through caribou's heads to get oil if we have to. Fix the problem. Tonight's real story. I'm going to be honest with you. I have a massive, I mean gigantic SUV in my garage at home. And I've got another one in the garage here in this building. If I could put wheels on an aircraft carrier, I would, just to make Al Gore weep. Now, I'm not telling you anything you don't know when I tell you gas prices gone through the roof, and they're basically like a new tax on all of us. The rich get hurt, the poor get hurt, and the middle class, which probably drive more than anybody, definitely gets hurt. But if you're looking for our politicians to help, well, then you're looking in the wrong place. Their latest pitch is that they want to abolish the federal gas tax between Memorial Day and Labor Day. Sounds great, right? Until you realize it's going to save 18 cents a gallon. Again, don't get me wrong, I'll take the 18 cents a gallon. But it sends the completely wrong message to people. We cannot get out of this crisis by putting Band-Aids on a gushing head wound. We have to fix the underlying problem, which is we don't control our own future because we don't control our energy supply. I hate to point it out again, we're getting most of our oil from our enemies. 18 cents a gallon in tax savings may help the economy, but only until oil is $200 a barrel, and then it starts all over again. Now, John McCain and Hillary Clinton both support the gas holiday idea, you know, take a holiday from the gas tax, but Barack Obama doesn't. Why? This is probably the point that you probably would say, well, Glenn, you should stand up and applaud Barack for his willingness to take a stand against the typical Washington politics. Sorry, the real story is this is typical Washington politics. I got nothing to back this up, but what the hell, it's only national television. My gut tells me he doesn't want the tax cut because it effectively would be a tax break for everybody. Now, he can't stand for that. He didn't want the upper class to benefit as much as the lower class. That goes against everything he stands for. Even though, and this is why I say, because I can't find another reason for doing it, think of this. It actually is probably the most effective thing Washington can do. Think about it. To get our stimulus checks out, how much time did we waste? How much money did we waste debating them in Congress? We wasted time at the IRS. We bought millions of dollars in stamps to send out stupid letters saying, you're going to get a tax rebate. Then we spent millions of dollars more in stamps to mail those checks. We spent millions on printing the stupid checks. And now what are we? We're sitting here praying that people just don't stick the money in their bank account. A temporary gas tax cut, you know, despite all my previous caveats, wouldn't require any of those things. Which brings me right back to the fact that our politicians don't solve problems, they create them. After all, how many decades have we been begging them to get this foreign oil monkey off our back? John Tamney, he's a senior economist at Wainwright and also the editor of Real Clear Markets. He has crunched some numbers for us on oil prices versus the stimulus checks. Where do we start here, John?
Well, I think the best place to go is back to December 1st when oil was per barrel was trading at $89 per barrel. Since then, it's risen to roughly $118. And so you say $29 a barrel, it's up. And you look at our oil consumption, it's 20 million barrels a day times 29, so that's $580 million a day, and then multiply that by 145 days. And you work it out to roughly $84 billion. Now consider the stimulus package, which I say will actually slow down the economy. But they say that's about I guess that's roughly $100 billion. And the assumption is that roughly $25 billion will be spent. Well, for this one oil problem alone, we're going to realistically triple the amount we're just spending on the oil price relative to this alleged stimulus that's going to come from the government.
I have to tell you, John, the only stimulus here, the only economies being stimulated here are China, because we borrowed all of the money for these, you know, these tax rebates. So we've borrowed the money from China, then we're spending a lot of it on Chinese goods, and if we're not spending it on Chinese goods, we're spending it on oil from Saudi Arabia and Venezuela and places that hate our guts.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting point. Now, what I always say is that oil is oil is oil. The problem with the oil price with us, we're mostly buying oil from Canada, actually in Mexico, so it's not even, I wouldn't even so much complain about where we get it from, but it's, if you look at the major dollar debasement that's occurred that's gotten us to this point, it's a major unfortunate thing for the average American.
I have to tell you, I think that is the story. In fact, I just said to one of our producers, I said, this is a lead story for us next week, and that is the dollars to euro. We've debased our money so much that we're screwing almost everything up. If you look at the dollar versus euro on how much oil has risen over in Europe if you're buying it with euros compared to how much you're buying it with U.S. dollars, do you have those figures?
Yeah, the latest I found is that the price per barrel in dollars since 2001 has risen 319%.
Hang on, slow down. Remember this, 319% increase in dollars, and against the euro?
Roughly 92%. So there's your big story, I think, right there.
It is, and that's the one that nobody is talking about. 319% in U.S. dollars. Don't tell me the dollar's not being debased, versus 92% in euros. Something's not right here, and the Fed just keeps printing more money. That's what's really going on. John, thank you very much. We will talk to you again probably next week.